This is Shawn from WOD, and I'm with Chris Masters, the Masterpiece. And you are watching WOD on the Boom broadcast. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to WOD right here on the Boom broadcast. We want to thank you for tuning in to WOD. A lot of wrestling going over this week. I was just kind of in and out. So much going on. 3 shows this week. That's right. Grit and Grind is back on Studio 67 NCC on YouTube. So I was prepping for that. Watching Big Brother, prepping for Instinct, prepping for WOD, at a seminar conference down in Carolina Beach. Just so much was going on. Could not watch all of Raw. Only saw the part of Raw that really caught the most interest in me was the Creed brothers. Saw they did win, so that was the only thing that really had my attention. Then I had to pop out and do some other things over there to get ready for the seminar next morning. Tuesday night, missed NXT. Watched it. Portions of it down there during the seminar. Came back, watched it the following morning all the way through. Good NXT. Good match for Obi and Otis, man. Very good match. Otis, man, Otis killing it right now. Just need him to get a little bit more away from Tozawa and Maxine. But even if you keep them together, he can start to be that breakout babyface for that group. And Maxine can be a good manager. So, we may not need to break him up. Every group needs that. Otis, the breakout babyface, the Tozawa, the one who always is getting beat up, the Otis has to come save, and the Maxine, another person, the Otis has to come save when she's in the line of fire. So they kind of got things going good with Alpha Academy. Then turn around, watch all the AEW. Great AEW. Was not the best one, but AEW did good this week. A lot more video packaging promos. So I'm kind of hammering on some things on AEW I saw that I want to go back and talk about. Friday Night SmackDown. Missed the entire SmackDown. Actually getting ready to go watch it now after WOD goes off because it's Friday Night Football. Lights are back on Friday night. Want to thank everybody on Boom Broadcasting and all other media, social media outlets and podcast outlets who turned into Studio 67 NCC on YouTube to watch the Grit and Grind preseason kickoff. Great success over there. Hard work. Like I told you, it was 3 shows this week to prep for Instincts, WOD, Grit and Grind. I'm in the grind season right now. Football season going on. And don't forget, next Friday night, Football Friday Night, Grit and Grind presents Friday Night Game Night will be live. This year we're streaming on the Instagram and on my Twitter. So you'll be able to watch that, and we're going to try to find a way to simulcast that over the Boom Broadcasting. We're working with the president, Mike D, to try to figure out how to make that happen, where we can strip with 3 devices out there on the field, where you can get that 5 to 10 minute Football Friday breakdown to each game I'm at, and also that 5 to 10 minute closeout of what happened all over North Carolina with football. So a lot to look into with WOD this week. More with Studio 67 and Grit and Grind at the end of the show. Let's look at WOD. If you watch the nightcap, and if you're not watching it, shame on you. You should be watching it. But if you watch the nightcap on Wednesday night, I thought with Mike and his panel had a good conversation. And I threw a question out there. And I threw it out there because I wanted to hear those guys' take on it. Because I knew I was going to have it on WOD on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday night, Saturday late night, whichever time you choose to watch it. But I knew I was going to have that question up there. So the question I threw out there was, is it time to repackage Hook? I'll say that again. Is it time to repackage Hook? The guys on Mouth Off with Mike on the nightcap said no. And I wanted to hear other people's answer on it because I got a different answer. And, that's why we do these podcasts. That's why we all think differently. We all look at wrestling a different way. Because my mindset said yes after watching that promo. But the guy said no, and all of them made good points. And shout out to Mouth Off with Mike. He said the only thing Hook's missing is that Paul Heyman, that Jim Cornette, that Raven. A lot of people forget when he was Johnny Polo, when he was not wrestling, he was Johnny Polo. He was a wrestler, but they booked him as a manager. Johnny Polo, back in WWF, when he managed the Quebecers, Raven could cut some good promos. And of course, if you know Raven from ECW, WCW, WWE days, he cut some great promos. They said that's what Hook needed. And I gotta agree. Cannot deny. That's what Hook needs. But I want to look at the Jericho side of it. Because a lot of people are saying, Hook's got to get away from the Jericho vortex, get away from the learning tree to be able to blossom and go in AEW to that mid-card level. Because right now, a lot of people say you're battling Jericho for the FTW title. And it's kind of like the $1 Million Man title, $1 Million Man Championship, $1 Million Championship title. It's worthless. It's just a prop. But a few weeks ago, I was one of those guys who said, maybe time for Jericho to hang it up. I'm a big Jericho guy, man. I've been liking the guy since Lionheart, Y2J, ECW Jericho, WWF Jericho with his Y2J, WWE Jericho, the best friends with Kevin Owens, You Just Made the List Jericho, the Painmaker Jericho, the Learning Tree Jericho now has grown on me, the New Japan 9 Intercontinental Championship Jericho. Been a big fan of Jericho. And I did say a few weeks ago, it may be time. But every week I turn into AEW. Jericho just wins me back over. And I don't know. Maybe because I'm a Jericho-holic. But he wins me back over. And I look at Hook. And I say to myself, if this storyline, and I'm going to borrow some WWE guys, borrow some New Japan guys, borrow some TNA guys. If this storyline had Cody Rhodes as Hook, with everything Jericho's done to Hook, and we're going to break down what he's done to Hook to be able to get that Hook. Hook was over as a face to a lot of fans. Not to me, but to a lot of fans he is. But when Jericho threw the fireball at Hook and blinded Hook, that was Cody Rhodes. He would have the fans eating out of the palm of his hand. That was Joe Hendry on TNA. He would have the TNA fans eating out of the palm of his hands. If that was Naito from New Japan, he would have the fans eating out of the palm of his hands. If that was AJ Styles, TNA, WWE, fans eating out of the palm of his hands. I just felt like watching that promo Hook did on Wednesday night. We realized Hook cannot talk. He's not a promo guy. Nothing wrong with that. For a long time, Brock was the promo guy. Paul Heyman did all the talking. Now we saw in Brock's later years that he could cut a decent promo. It wouldn't be a Paul Heyman style promo, but it was good, sufficient enough to carry on the feud. We found out that Hook just couldn't do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's the flaw. And that's why I said if it was Cody, Naito, Joe Hendry, Dalton Castle and Ring of Honor when he was hot, any of those guys, it would be money right now that you could build on this. And this story that Hook and Jericho's telling is an old story. Y'all guys know. You ladies know who watch WOD. I grew up through the territories, and when I couldn't get the territories, we would go down to the flea market. It was a guy, shady guy on the corner with a table. He had every type of wrestling VHS tape you could get. Granny and Uncle Johnny, $3. We had everything you can name. So I did not get a chance to see this story live because it happened back in 78, 80s. But I got a chance in the later part of the 80s when Granny would say, hey, it's raining outside. He can't go outside. Sunday evening, we would have Mania at 10 a.m. Mania goes off. Then around about noon, you would get WWE Superstars. That would come on either at noon or 1, depending on what time. Well, it started coming on at 1. So you had Mania at 10, Soul Train at 12, WWF Superstars at 1, and then from 1 to 6 o'clock, you had nothing. Till WCW Saturday Night came on at 6 o'clock. So it's raining outside. I'm getting on Granny's nerves as a little kid, running around the house like, man, I'm trying to clothesline, body slam all the pillows, suplex the pillows, German suplex, Brock Lesnar F5, DDT like Jake the Snake. I'm doing all of that. So Granny said, hey, we got to figure something out. This kid sit down. So she would throw on these territory tapes that we bought at the flea market. So I was watching Jerry the King Lawler in Memphis, watching the Freebirds and the Von Erichs in Texas, watching the Freebirds and Cowboy Bill Walt's promotion, watching Ric Flair over here, the NWA Steamboat. I was watching all these old guys. And you probably know about the Freebirds. I'm going to tell you about the Freebirds because it's all leads to where I'm going. I remember when Doc Hendricks got signed with WWO. And I remember everybody saying, who's this guy interviewing people with his white suit on? And I remember going to school and they said, oh, that's Michael P.S. Hayes from the Fabulous Freebirds. And here I am, a third grade. Everybody look like, who is the Fabulous Freebirds? We never heard of them. Oh, man, they were like the best trio team. Bam Bam, Terry Gordy, Dennis, all those guys. They had Freebird rules. They traded the belt around. You could be fighting Michael Hayes and Bam Bam. You could be fighting Bam Bam and Dennis. You could be fighting Michael and Dennis. And they were like, what in the world are you talking about? I was like, it was Freebird rules. Freebird rules. Nobody knew about it. They're like, okay. Then they saw this guy teaming with the Hardys, like, imagine the Hardys, and doing a couple matches with him, like, maybe this guy did wrestle. He sucks. I was like, oh, man, you should have seen Michael P.S. Hayes when he was coming out with the flag on the back off back streets USA from the back streets of Atlanta. Him and Bam Bam with them. Or when they were coming out, I want to be free as a free bird. And people like, man, I didn't know. I'm like, hey, I got the tape. I go to Granny's house and get it. We can watch it. But this is an old story that was told by Cowboy Bill Waltz. And this story that was told by him in his territory put the most over person in his territory, the Junkyard Dog. Man, Granny was a big fan of JYD. We loved JYD. Even when JYD was in WWF, we would get upset because we had the tapes of JYD down in Texas, and he was the main event of their show. JYD, Ted DiBiase to DiBiase turned on him. JYD was the main event. He would come down to the ring with the wheelbarrow. He would have the spare tire in the wheelbarrow, some scrap metal, and dog collar. He was a junkyard dog. We love JYD. North Carolina, shout out Waynesboro, Anderson County. Where it's from. Where he's wrestling at right now also. But we love JYD. And Michael P.S. Hayes, where Jericho threw a fireball, Michael P.S. Hayes sprayed hair gel. In the most over babyface, JYD. Fans were booing the Freebirds out of the building. Like, I really thought they were going to get... Michael P.S. Hayes tells this story all the time. You go listen to some of his podcasts, listen to some of his old interviews. He talks about how that night they literally had their lives threatened. They had to get security to get the birds in a car. That's heat. That's where Jericho should be right now in this story. If Hook is the guy that we're trying to get over as our next big babyface in the promotion, because if that was Darby, fans would be ready to fight Jericho. If that was Swerve, they'll be ready to fight Jericho. If that was Bryan Danielson, they will be ready to fight Jericho. That's where I feel like Hook just does not have that it factor. Good guy, good wrestler. He just doesn't have that polishing on him to carry this. Because when the Birds did the JYD, the Birds said we had to be escorted to our car because people were throwing glass bottles at us. A guy tried to stab Bam Bam. Guy tried to stab Michael P.S. Hayes. But to make the story even better, and JYD was written off. His wife was giving birth to his daughter, so they wanted to give him time, get back to North Carolina, spend time with his daughter. So JYD was written off TV. But JYD came back about 3 months later, 90 days later. Maybe it could have been later. Could have been longer than that, but you know, watching the tapes, it was back to back to back. He came back. And when JYD came back, he was sitting ringside, and they called him in. They had the dog. They said, we got the dog here. Fans go off. JYD comes out. Another one bites the dust. He's got on a polo shirt, some slacks. He sits down. They said, we're going to sit down ringside. He comes out and needs help to get to the ring. So now you got people crying. This is our guy. We can relate to JYD. He's somebody that, you know, he's a common guy like Dusty Rhodes. Common man. You know, he's doing this, making a living, taking care of his family. JYD sits ringside. JYD goes in the ring. Cuts that promo. Just like they did with Hook. I mean, same storyline. Just like they did with Hook. JYD, that has JYD. How's it been going? Just like Hook said, I can't see. JYD said, I can't see. The Freebirds took something from me I'll never get able to get back. In life, I'm just going to paraphrase, summarize this promo. In life, you get one opportunity to see the birth of your child. And Michael P.S. Hayes, Bam Bam Terry Gordy, and Dennis took that away from me. Freebirds took that away from me because when my daughter was born, I couldn't see her. I had to ask my wife, was it a boy or a girl? Because I could not lay eyes on my child. JYD, the most over babyface in Cowboy Bill Watts territory down in Texas, cuts that promo. They shoot to the crowd on the hard cam. You got men, you got women, you got men, you got kids. Everybody's in there crying their hearts out. Crying off of this. Because they felt the pain that JYD had because the Freebirds took that opportunity to see his daughter being born. Man, you talk about good booking, good storytelling. Boy, that was good storytelling at its finest. And that's what they're doing at AEW with this Jericho. And Jericho's doing his part as the heel. He's trying to get Hook over, but Hook just can't grab that promo to save it. Make a long story short, JYD goes back over, sits ringside. And true story, because Michael P.S. Hayes tells the story all the time. Because JYD told him, a guy had a gun in the arena and whispers to JYD, dog, all you got to do is give me the word and I'll shoot those Freebirds tonight. And JYD sitting there like, do I break kayfabe? Do I break character? Tell him I really can see? Or do I figure something out? JYD was able to figure something out when the Birds didn't come out that night. Michael P.S. Hayes says whatever JYD done, it saved his life because he said this guy literally was ready to shoot. That's heat. Now, do we want that kind of heat in wrestling? No, but back in the days, people took it serious about their baby faces. If you hurt the guy that we love, JYD, Ric Flair, Steamboat, Devon Harris, when the Fantastics, if you hurt these guys, if the Rock and Roll Express came in and the Midnight Express beat them up, or the Midnight Express beat up Devon Harris or the Fantastics, or they beat up, I can't call them guys, before it was Money Inc., the USA Express. If the Orient Express came in and beat up Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, the USA Express, people were ready to go in the ring and kill the heels. That was what that heat was back in the territory. This is what this story could have. But if you put somebody else in this story, Jericho now is the most hated guy. And now we're looking like, hey, Jericho don't need to leave. We can't see this guy lead to Cody, Joe Hendry, Naito from New Japan, Dalton Castle for Ring of Honor, Roman Reigns. We can't see Jericho Lee today get their hands on. Sami Zayn will be the. You put Sami in this story, and this is a main event at WrestleMania right now. For a prop title, it's a main event at WrestleMania because Sami will sell it just like JYD. So how would I repackage Hook? We got through all of this just to get back to that question. How would I repackage Hook? I would do like my dog Mike and the guys on Nightcap said. I would give him somebody that can talk, and I would have them say, yeah, because it's going to be hard to believe this. How I want to repackage him. Because as the average viewer fan as we are, and the smarter fans as we are, we're going to know that this is a lie. But you can sell that gimmick and have somebody like a Paul Heyman, a Jim Cornette, Michael P.S. Hayes. Tell you, man, that guy at WWE, he should be working with heels. You can have somebody like that saying, hey, guess what? Hook, the son of Taz, went to the school. He had to fight every day in school because people said, hey, that's your dad, Taz the wrestler. Oh, man, Taz was tough, but you're probably nothing like your dad. He had to fight every day. Yeah, he went to one of the better schools, but every day he was fighting for his life in the school, beating up 4 or 5 guys because they just could not understand how the son of Taz wanted to see how tough he was. You could sell that and make him what they're trying to make him out as this tough bad guy. What is the handsome bad guy, pretty bad guy? I forgot what they called him, what Shabani called him. You could do that. Ditch the Batman. Like, why do they have that? He's not a caliber star yet that you can do a prop gimmick. That's something that I would see the New Day do. And no knock on the New Day. I like the New Day. Big fans of the New Day. Man, they're over. They can do that and get by with it because it gives them more nostalgia to their entrance. Just have Hook come out. Have him come out on no music. Make people believe that he is truly, man, I can't cuss on WOD. If it was one time I could cuss, I would. Sorry, Mr. President. I'm trying to hold in, but make him come out where people fear him like he was a bad A. That's what Taz was. And I know you don't want to reinvent the wheel and make him his dad, but introduce some of that to him. Give him a mouthpiece, repackage him, and you got somebody that's going to be a great mid-carder that after another year or two, you can start elevating them to that heavyweight scene. So that's what I would do with Hook right there if I had the chance. So also, before we get out of here, just another thing I want to look at. What's going on with Okada, man? What's going on with Okada? Claudio killed a good promo on Wednesday night, and I truly liked it. I think it was one of Claudio's best ones. I put it on the nightcap. Haven't seen Claudio cut a good promo like that since he was the Kings of Wrestling with Chris Hero. One of the guys also said I hadn't seen him cut a good one like that since he was We Don't Set the Bar with Sheamus. We Are the Bar. Good promo by Claudio, but what has Okada becoming to AEW? He's become an AEW EVP, watered down lackey, the Rainmaker, a guy that in New Japan was a top star, was feared, went to war with Naito, went to war with AJ Styles, went to war with Cody, Kenny, went to war with so many people, Shinsuke Nakamura, went to war with all these guys, and now he's this champ, the Continental Champ in AEW. And he's just saying stuff like, this isn't the Rainmaker we saw in New Japan. This is like watching the Buckaroos, the third sidekick now. And I'm glad Claudio said, I want the real Rainmaker to come back. Because guess what, Claudio? My hands up, I want him to come back too. Coming to AEW, I said, okay, they're bringing Okada. Man, we're going to have some classic matches like him and Naito in the Dome, him and AJ in the Dome, him and Kenny in the Dome. We're going to have all of that. And like right now, like, what are you doing? Are the Bucks rubbing off on you? Are the Bucks writing your material? Because you're sounding like a young Buck. And no knock on the Buckaroos. I told everybody, I used to like the Bucks. Now I can't really stand the Bucks as EVPs. Wish they would just Be wrestlers, man. Give up trying to do this creative stuff. Hire people in the back to be the creative, be the producers and stuff like that. I don't know what their job titles are as EVPs, but give it up. You're watering down this show. So I don't know what's going on with Okada. I want to see the old Okada come back. I don't know if he will come back. Drop in the comment box how you feel about that. But I just feel like since Okada's came to AEW, he's getting ready to be a laughing stock in my books. And I liked Okada in New Japan. He was the reason why I bought the New Japan Pro Wrestling out. The Bullet Club was hot. Cody was hot on the indies. You had the Tokyo Pimp. You had G.O.D. You had Juice. All of them in the Bullet Club. And then you had Okada, who I knew nothing about Japanese wrestling in New Japan. I watched it, but I watched the guys I knew. I didn't watch the whole show. I just watched the way fast forward to see the Bullet Club. But then when I started watching Okada and Naito and all these guys, I said, hey, these guys can go. And now looking at Okada like, what happened from New Japan to AEW? You done a 360. So maybe this match with Claudio will bring Okada out. Bring back out the old Okada we're used to seeing. Maybe Claudio can sit down and say, listen, we ain't listening to the EVPs. We're going to write this out how we want it, and it's going to be a 5-star match. And maybe it can be a 5-star match next week. We'll see. Last thing we want to talk about, and I got this off the nightcap, so I wanted to bring it onto the show, was state of tag team wrestling. And Derek made a good comment. What's going on with tag team wrestling? So I kind of cheated a little bit. I didn't watch the entire Raw, but I told you I went back and just watched it on YouTube, the matches that I wanted to see. So that's why I said I didn't watch it. If I say I watched the show, I want to say I started from the start to finish, fast forward to the commercials and watched it. Same thing, did watch all the NXT, did watch all the AEW. Got to go back, watch SmackDown after this airs off. So I'll be watching that. But from what I saw on Raw and those other two shows, I did watch a little bit of TNA. Not as much as I wanted to. Kind of, seeing Joe Hendry on NXT now, but said, like, do I need to watch TNA till it gets going? I mean, I'm only watching to watch Nick Diamond, but Joe Hendry's on NXT every Tuesday now. But back to what we said about tag team. It's a lost art. And FTR is doing their best to save it. The Usos, I wish they would put them back together. I know Jay's on this great singles run, and I know they're not going to get back together to a climax with Jay winning a World Heavyweight Championship, not a mid-card title, but a World Heavyweight Championship. G.O.D. right now has not been turned loose to the G.O.D. we saw in New Japan. I don't know what's going on with Tonga Low. I really wish I could just talk with him, because we're not seeing the Tonga Low we saw in New Japan. And I guess it's maybe he got the WWE curse that when he came back to WWE, the Tonga Low we were used to seeing riding on the bicycle, that stuff just kind of got back in where he's tripping over his own foot, holding the title up wrong. I don't know. But I'm waiting on the Tonga Low I saw in New Japan that made me a fan of G.O.D. Like, wow, this guy really had it. WWE was holding them back. But tag team wrestling is a falling art. It's a failing art. I wish that it would get back going. But it's kind of like what Derek said, and that's what you're seeing. They're just taking two singles guys, sticking them together, be a tag team. We saw that with Jade and Bianca. Two single ladies putting together, be a tag team. The only tag teams we got left is DIY. We saw it with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Just put these two guys together to be a tag team. Corbin, Apollo Crews. When I think of tag team wrestling, I think of FTR, the Rockers, the Hart Foundation, Harlem Heat, the Steiner Brothers, Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, the Fantastics, the Freebirds. List goes on. Money Incorporation, Ted DiBiase at IRS. Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. Masters of the Powerbomb, Vader and Sid Justice. Well, Vader and Sid Vicious in WCW. Twin Towers, Akeem and the Big Boss Man. The Doom, with Teddy Long was managing Doom back then. The Nasty Boys. So many tag teams. Oh man, I forgot. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Can't forget about them. That's what I think of when I see tag teams. Guys who knew how to be tag team wrestlers. But what we're getting now is just, hey, let's put two singles together, make a tag team and fill a spot. If we're not going to give the tag team wrestling division the justice it deserves for the ones that I just named that paved the way, the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, people like that, the Hardys, it's so many more I can name. I don't want to keep going because I know I'm going to miss some great ones. So I'm going to stop at the Hardys right here in Cameron, North Carolina. But if we want to get it back to where it used to be, we're going to need WWE, AEW, TNA, everybody. And TNA's starting to do better with their tag. They're more the heavy singles, but you'll get a good tag match for TNA. I'll give them that. They'll give you a good one. NXT, every now and then you get one, but right now WWE is kind of slacking with theirs, and AEW. If we're going to do it, let's get back to the old way, putting two people together that want to be a tag team. The New Day, they want to be a tag team. The Road Warriors want to be a tag team. They didn't want to be singles. Heart Foundation started as a tag team, but Brett blossomed out. The Rockers, same thing. Shawn blossomed out from Marty Jannetty. Harlem Heat, tagged for a majority of their lives till they started saying, hey, this Booker T guy, he's going a singles run. Sorry, Stevie Ray. That's what we need to see if we're going to do it. If you're going to do a tag team, get back to the basics. Go take them out to NXT. Teach them what tag team wrestling's all about. Give them some good clinics, and then bring them back up to the main roster. Well, one last thing I want to talk about when we get out of here. I had a chance to go visit a local show. Had a chance to meet Chris Masters, the Masterpiece. You did see Chris Masters at the beginning of the show, opening up WOD. Had a chance to meet him. Got a good chance to just see some good local indie North Carolina talent right here on the card. A lot of people I met, got a chance to talk with them. Me and Chris Masters had a great conversation. Great conversation with that. Look for something in 2025 where we're going to link up and try to do an interview. We were working on it at the last show. He's not going to be back on the next show. Probably be back rebooked in 2025. He said, well, we could get some dates in 2025. Over here, we're going to sit down and do something for the Boom broadcast on WOD. But a lot of great talent over there. And as I always say, go out and support local indie wrestling. The mom and pop shows, any indie shows that come around your area. If it's in driving distance, say, hey, it's Saturday. I'm going to go get these people $10, $15, $20, $25, and I'm just going to have a good time. Give me some popcorn, meet some of the indie guys over here, and just have a good time. It's one of the best things you can have. You know, we always go to WWE, we go to AEW, we go to the main shows. If TNA comes away, we hit it. TNA used to come through North Carolina, they don't do no more. But if there's a good indie show in your area, go out and support these indie wrestlers because they're either trying to get to that level or just getting started on their journey to get to WWE or AEW or the Ring of Honor or TNA. Hey, I've met a lot of good people in the indies now during AEW, NXT, everywhere. So go out and support indie wrestling. But the DCW show was good. Got to give them a plug. They did something I've never seen before. A DLC match. Could not do TLC because when I talked with the producer, TLC is trademarked by WWE. So they got creative and said, we're going to do a DLC match. Doors, ladders, and chairs. Got a chance to be the tag team out of Greensboro, the Zenith. Those guys come up through Greensboro or up there around the mountain region of Western North Carolina. Hey, they're to go down to Atlanta. Go check these guys out. One of the guys looks just like MJF. But these guys can work. And man, I'm telling you, for them to be a heel tag team, I'm going to spoil it right now. And Mike D knows because I texted them when they done it. For them to be a heel tag team and do the 1D, and I mean, did it just like the Dudleys, just like how the Usos do it. Everybody in that gym went off and gave them a standing ovation. Be on the lookout for them. Got a good guy with them, an older guy that's working as their manager. God knows how to cut promos for them. So I guess that's their weak link right now is the promo skills. So that's why they got this guy working with them as their manager. Be on the lookout for them. Zula, be on the lookout. Everybody knows Zula over here in the North Carolina indie scene. Jaden out of Charlotte, another young lady that's on the rise over here on the indie scenes. Be on the lookout for her. Brutality Incorporation, another tag over here on the indie scenes in North Carolina. They're kind of running the circuit right now. When I talk with them, they're all over the East Coast right now. So check them devil out. Good tag team. Another two tag teams out of Greensboro I met that stuck out. The Riot City. They do a lot of stuff on 5 Star Promotion and another one. So definitely check it out. Like I always say, support indie wrestling. Go support him. If a show comes up in your town, take a ride. Take that 10-minute ride, that 5-minute ride, that 30-minute ride, 45-minute ride, or hour and a half, 2 hours. Take that ride and go out and support the men and women on the indie scene. This is Shawn. I'm signing off. We'll see you next week on WOD right here on the Boom broadcast. Want to thank everybody for tuning in to all the great content on Boom. Out of Pocket, Quick Hits, Nightcap, It Stinks, everything we got on Boom. WOD. Drop the mic on Wednesdays, everything we got. We thank you guys for tuning in. Also, Mike showed his dad talking about the Cowboys. Thank you guys for tuning in to all our stuff on Boom. Continue watching. Also, special thanks to all the people on Boom that jumped over to Studio 67 NCC and watched Grit and Grind. Don't forget, Grit and Grind will air live every Thursday at 4 p.m. on Studio 67 NCC. So if you're a fan of high school football in North Carolina, or if you don't live in North Carolina and just want to learn more about what we got going on in the great state of North Carolina with high school football, tune into the Grit and Grind live show, drop comments in the comment box, and I will be responding to them and give you my takes. This is Shawn. I'm signing off. We'll see you next week on WOD right here on the Boom broadcast.